Okay, good morning and welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, April 9th. I am your chair, Sean Flowerday. With me is Vice Chair Rick Vest and Commissioners Matt Schulte, Rome Amundsen, and Krista Yoakum. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, please begin.
Location announcement of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located at the wall of the rear of the hearing room. All written materials to be discussed at today's open meeting are available for electronic viewing from the county clerk's staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed at the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on April 2nd, 2024.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 2, claims. Approval of the claims processed through April 9th, 2024.
I'll move approval of the claims.
And I'll note there is an amendment for payroll.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I'll move approval of the claims, including payroll through April 4th, or April 3rd.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item 3, consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there is an exception, these items will be approved as one single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are the approval of A, right-of-way contracts for the following: Schmidt Revocable Family Trust, Southwest 114th Street and West Princeton Road, in the amount of $1,243. John and Adrienne Schmidt Family Trust, West Pella Road and Southwest 100th Street, in the amount of $1,540. VRM LLC, West Superior Road and Northwest 98th Street, in the amount of $583. B, utility permit 2523, allowing Charter Spectrum Communications to install new fiber communications line in Northwest Lancaster County. C, change order 1 to county contract C-24-0106 with Topcoat Incorporated for countywide chip sealing. And D, receive and place and file the following reports from the Assessor Register of Deeds, the Clerk of the District Court, Records and Information Management, County Clerk, and County Sheriff.
Move approval of the consent items?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, hold on one second. Sorry, I'm trying to open up one of the. I had it open on my other computer. Give me a second. I think there was a pretty significant. Sorry, give me just 1 second here. I think it was actually on the. Oh no, it looks like it was revised. Okay, nope, we're good.
Great. Is there a motion? There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the consent items? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item 4, our public hearing. The applications for a Class 1 liquor license from Las Palomas Mexican Grill, LLC, and a corporate manager liquors license for Jesus C. Zaragoza.
We'll now open the public hearing for the Class 1 liquor license. Is there any staff looking to come forward? Okay. Is there any members of the public looking to speak on this? Are you the applicants? Yeah, come on up.
Go over there, you said?
Yeah, just come forward. Yep.
And we'll start off by swearing you in for the public hearing. No, you're good. You can speak at that microphone.
Okay.
So please raise your right hand.
All right.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Please state your name.
Jesus C. Zaragoza.
Great.
Good.
Just tell us a little bit about your business and you know, the process of going through this. Is there anything?
Also, I mean, we just opened it not too long ago, 3 weeks ago, trying to get a liquor license so we can get more population, more stuff in the area. But it's kind of a risky place because it's a lake and it's a high volume of kids, teenagers and stuff. So we're going to make sure we're on top of stuff with IDs. If you look under 400, we'll ID you no matter what. So we're always going to try to ID everybody.
I'd like to hear.
So, I mean, there's a lot of people going to complain about, you know, not having, for IDing someone over 50, but we're going to get our responsibility there and trying to get stuff done good.
Great.
And this is the restaurant at Branched Oak Lake?
Yes, sir.
Is that
Yeah, it's in Branch Oak.
I was there Sunday, and I highly recommend it. I was disappointed because the margaritas looked beautiful, but I couldn't have one yet.
Yeah.
It was really windy that day. I'm glad you didn't get blown away.
Yeah.
And you have previous experience as well, is that
Yeah.
right?
I've been doing this since I was a kid with my dad, so I have a lot of experience. I've been helping my dad since I was a kid, so.
Great.
Well, it's a great place to have a restaurant. We really value someone taking this responsibility on.
Thank you,
And
yeah.
Thank you for doing the work you need to get qualified. So
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
also clearly very wanted and desired in that community because when I was there, it was steady traffic.
Yeah.
Almost all the tables were full and people just kept coming in the doors.
Yeah, we're hoping the summer it gets a little bit busier. I mean, there's people that come in and like, we want a margarita, and we tell them no, and they leave. I'm like, it is what it is. I mean, it's just a long process. There's nothing really can really do about it. So,
give us a couple of weeks.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, so what's your prime food item?
So we got over 100 dishes, so we got a lot to choose from. Yeah, it's a big
big menu.
It's a big menu. So I mean, there's a molcajete. It's got steak, grilled chicken. It's got a little bit of everything. So
That's what I had.
yeah,
That
it's
was
got
all
steak,
excellent.
chicken, shrimp, bell peppers, onions. So it's got a little bit of everything. It's unique, you know. Yeah.
And you're open this noon.
Yeah, we're open today. It's Taco Tuesday, you know. We can't forget Taco Tuesday.
Okay, I would move approval.
Well,
Oh, this is the
Yeah,
public
we're still in the
just
public
the
hearing,
hearing.
but we'll do
Yeah.
that in a second.
We'll do that in a
Any further questions?
thank you for.
You're
being
good.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a hearing.
Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, we will go ahead and close the public hearing. We can move on to new business.
New business, item 5A, a resolution in the matter of a Class 1 liquor license for Las Palomas Mexican Grill LLC and a corporate manager liquors license for Jesus C. Zaragoza.
And now I will move approval.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes,
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Best,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item 5B, resolution in the matter to request to vacate certain portions of the right-of-way north of the intersection of West Pruchas Street and Southwest 112th Street, Crete, Nebraska, and more particularly described in Exhibit A and located in Lancaster County, Nebraska.
Pam Dingman, a Lancaster County engineer. The exhibit that I've thrown up on my phone on the overhead shows the alleyways in Kramer. This really is, the way we platted lots in the 1860s and 70s. Everything was rectangle, everything had an alley in the back. As you platted these grids, you platted half right-of-way on the edge of the roads, which has also made for some interesting issues for us in the county. These lots are very small.
Yeah, we thank
and-
them for that.
And these extra pieces of right-of-way don't always work the way that we think they're going to work, and so we are in support of vacating this lot or this alleyway in Kramer.
Landowners are in agreement, Pam?
The landowners are the ones who brought it forward,
okay.
and we may have other people here to talk about it too. So
If they want to share.
I would like to mention one thing, just so that we're all online with this. So when the county vacates the right-of-way, if there are any existing utilities in those alleyways or right-of-ways, the easements on those existing utilities continue in perpetuity until they are also individually vacated. And sometimes people forget that and can kind of get a little messed up.
Good note to have.
Okay. Does anyone else want to come speak on this?
Any other members of the public looking to speak?
I would move approval.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item 5C, resolution regarding the purchase of property generally located at 220 South 17th Street and 1700 M Street, located in the city of Lincoln, Lancaster County, Nebraska.
Morning, Commissioners. John Ward with the Lancaster County Attorney's Office. Just wanted to update the board that we anticipate a couple of the documents changing. There's a property settlement statement and a real estate transfer statement, but this resolution authorizes the board and Mr. Durbin to execute those documents on or before the closing date. So it's appropriate in this case, given the fact that some documents might change.
We have a motion?
I'll move that we approve this resolution.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Brings us to item 5D, an amusement license renewal application from Jerry McCabe for an events at Sleepy Bees Lavender Farm of agritourism for a period of 10 weeks starting mid-June to mid-August.
Hi, guys. Happy to be here again. We're here for the 5th year, I think. We are expanding and growing, and kind of, you can see on the application, it's a little longer time period. We kind of learned our lesson last year with the weather, the plants coming out of dormancy, and then how long they last. It varies year to year, so we've kind of expanded our timeline there. Just for people that don't know, we are Sleepy Bees Lavender Farm. We have farm tours, agritourism when the lavender blooms on our fields. We're actually adding some herbs this year. So the people came out last year and we did a U-Pick event as our final event. So we're gonna do more of those this year so people can pick their lavender, but we're also gonna have herbs available for people to pick. And we have some cut flowers that we're gonna do and some sunflowers and things like that. So we're just expanding little by little on our tourism stuff out there, so.
That's great. Just for your knowledge, the legislature just passed starting at the end of July here, you will not have to apply for amusement licenses anymore.
Oh, okay.
And that bill's already signed by the governors. That's been just sort of an older section of law that goes back to the 40s and hadn't been amended in years. So anyways, not that we don't love seeing you every year. So,
And then we'll get the alert that it's time to go.
Exactly.
come on back.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But
It's not gonna be necessary.
But it's
All
not
right.
going to be necessary
Perfect.
starting next
All
year.
right,
So,
good deal.
just a heads up.
So none, like, there's no fee, there's no nothing, there's just, we
That's
don't
my
have to do it anymore.
That's my
Perfect.
understanding. I mean, it always good to double check with planning and stuff, but
Okay.
it is my understanding that the whole process of the amusement license by itself, special event licenses that involve liquor will still be required.
Okay.
Events that park on public roadways will still be required to do things. But if it's just an amusement license on private property, I believe that you no longer will have to apply. You can just have your events.
Perfect. That works for us.
We will miss you, but I'm gonna move approval of this year's.
Okay,
license.
perfect.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
It's been an honor. I mean, this is a great attraction in our community, and just really appreciate the work you put into doing this. And
Well,
It's been an honor to be a small part of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.
So I do have a question
Yes.
regarding the bees.
Yes.
Okay. How many colonies? Do you have colonies out there?
Yeah,
or-
we do. We have 5 hives this year, and every year it's different. I mean, most of this wintertime we go into with 4 or 5 hives, and we come out of winter with 2 or 3. This year we lucked into coming out with all 5 hives and didn't have to go to Valhalla and get any more bees this year. So we're lucky with that. Yes.
Okay. I had 6 hives. 5 came out of the winter.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's good. Bees are important. So yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes,
Motion carries.
Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Brings us to item 5E, a special events permit application from Nicole Fleck-Tooze, Solidago Conservancy for Prairie to Prairie Bike Run Run Bike Run event from Pioneers Park to Spring Creek Prairie to be held on May 19th, 2024.
Good morning, everyone. Sarah Hartzell with the Parks and Recreation Department.
And Travis Jensen with Solidago Conservancy. So.
Nicole is not with us here today, so we're here on her behalf. But this is our third year for our event, the Prairie to Prairie Run Bike Run, and it should really be Run Bike Run Party, a four-part event. But we do this as a group, Solidago Conservancy, the Lincoln Parks Foundation, City of Lincoln Parks and Rec, and then our friends at Spring Creek Prairie. We work together to produce this kind of awareness and recreational activity. It does involve a 5K run at Pioneers Park Nature Center, and then a bike ride out to Spring Creek on gravel roadways, and a 5K run at Spring Creek Prairie. Which is really great. And then afterwards we have vendors with food and drink. I do have a map here showing the route. We're here today for a special events permit to be able to use the road right-of-way for that gravel bike ride. We do ride on pavement in two small areas. One is right from the Buffalo entrance of Pioneers Park down to West Clare Street, that's Coddington there, and the other is over here coming up from West Bennett Road to Southwest 100th. The remainder of this is all on gravel. We do post corner marshals at each one of those locations with vests and signage, mostly just to make sure that we don't have any bicyclists that get off the pathway rather than to do any traffic control. But we do alert them to answer any questions that the public have as they come through there. Cyclists ride in this direction, generally south and east. We've had pretty good luck. We've had 100 and some both years, and so that's been some great participation. It's a super challenging ride. If you've driven out in this part, especially when you get in right in here, it's mighty hilly. So it's a tough event, but really fun, and I hope that it'll be the same this year. We really appreciate the Sheriff's Department and our friends at the County Engineering for the comments. They always help us to kind of focus our organization so that we know what our most important concerns are. I did bring some response memos to be shared with you addressing each one of those points. And I particularly want to thank the County Engineering Department. They have been so supportive in getting us signage. They actually created special signs for us so that we had some nice warning signs on Southwest 100th. And they're excellent to work with, and always great to get the right-of-way permit through there as well. So thank you to them.
Thank you.
Again, it's just really great to have folks like you doing events like this in our community. It just adds to the quality of life here. I'm looking forward to that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to 5F, a special designated license application from National Audubon Society, doing business as Spring Creek Prairie Audubon for an event on May 19th, 2024 at Spring Creek Prairie Audubon Center.
This timed well. I'm Megan Sittler. I'm the director at Spring Creek Prairie Audubon Center, and I'm here to represent the party,
Right.
as Sarah referenced, on our partnership event, Prairie to Prairie. So we are, as Sarah mentioned, the site for the final 5K, as well as the after-party celebration, which generally has run from 9 to 1. We have some very speedy people that get there early. We will have 2 local food vendors and then a local craft brewery providing beer and cider for purchase for our event participants and any supporters that come along. So everything's gone well. It's generally outside on our large lawn east of the center building, with the permitting of the center building in case of inclement weather.
Okay.
It's
Great.
a great facility. We were out there in 17 when the previous eclipse.
Oh, great, yes.
Great, it's a great spot, and I think anybody who completes this race deserves some kind.
Yes. We second that.
I would move approval.
Thank you.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to 5G, a special designated license application for Myers Wine doing business as Myers Cork and Bottle for an event on June 15th, 2024 at Roca Ridge.
Anyone here to speak on this?
Myers does a lot of
Yeah.
events
They do a lot
around
of
the
them.
county. I move approval.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Feels like spring is here with all of these outdoor events,
right.
doesn't it?
Gosh, there's going to be a lot of fun things.
Next item is item 5H, request for an exceptional circumstance award under Personnel Rule 17.9B for Leighton Moore, County Engineering, for a one-step pay increase.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. Sometimes when we do contract negotiations based on the HR rules, there are people, and I was really unaware of this. Well, I was aware of this, but I hadn't seen it used before. So what happens is you have someone that they're in their probationary period while negotiations are going on, and they get their one-step increase, and then once the contract is approved, that increase is actually taken away from them and recalculated in the increase that is negotiated. And if negotiations have gone on for a very long time, someone can be hired and then get their one-step increase right afterwards. And so we have some people that have kind of pushed in front of others. And I just want to make sure that we have pay equity in this. It's a little bit difficult to explain, and I know that Commissioner Flowerday, I called and talked to you, that we had some of these in advance, and I just would really recommend that you support me in correcting this issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a result of weird overlapping calendars and timelines that don't quite add up. I don't think this was ever the board's intent, so I have no problem with this.
I would move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to 5I, a ratification of a mini grant application and award from the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office in the amount of $20,000 for the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office to distribute radio media to increase occupant protection via education regarding seatbelt usage.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. 5J, an interlocal agreement with Saunders County for housing of juvenile offenders at Youth Services Center at the rate of $334 per day.
I move approval.
I would second, and this is the same rate that
Yeah.
we use with
Yeah.
probation youth, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that we have youth in this situation, but on the other hand, we have a facility that is safe and healthy and people working very hard to help youth make positive decisions. So if we can extend those services to other counties, that's a positive thing.
Yep. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or any further discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. 5K is an interlocal agreement with Polk County for the housing of juvenile offenders at the Youth Services Center at the rate of $334 per day.
Move approval.
Second.
I would like to say on this one too, because just kind of in addition to what Rick said is the fact that we do provide so many services for youth, and great education as well as monitoring their improvement. So.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Or any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. 5L, a grant agreement between Lancaster County and the Nebraska Emergency Management Agency for Building Resilient Infrastructure in Communities grant, allowing Lancaster County to utilize up to $243,859.20 in federal funds to perform a countywide rural drainage study. And there are two documents, the Federal Financial Accountability and Transparency Act form and the NEMA Hazard Mitigation Assistance Grant Programs Risk Assessment.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. These grants, known as the BRIC grant, are a 75-25 local match. Just so you have an idea of how long it takes for us to get here, we applied for this grant 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's taken us 18 months to get to the point that we're bringing an agreement before you. We hope to go out for a request for proposal to hire an engineer to do this work for us. This will be to study the drainage ways at all of our major structures. A lot of the bridge closures that were caused in 2019 really were a result of our creeks getting wider and deeper. And so we really need to focus on what's happening to our creeks, and if we can stabilize them at each major structure location, we can preserve our infrastructure investments well into the future.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 6, the legislative update.
Only thing that I would say is that, well, I guess I've got two quick things. This is just informational. LB 1217, our rent-restricted package, is inside of LB 1317, and it moved to select file last week. There was a fair, probably 90 minutes of debate on that bill, but none of it was on our stuff. So I don't anticipate our stuff having any problems as it moves forward. So I think that's good news that the rent-restricted package is moving forward. The other thing is there has been renewed, once again, it keeps coming back from the dead, conversations about potentially reducing inheritance tax with dock stamp fees. They have changed the funding sources, so I would say the concerns about the behavioral health funding and the affordable housing funding is no longer relevant like it was a week or two ago when we talked about it. They're looking at other places. I think it's fine. I think it's a wash for us. I don't love it, but because it's just one more complication at the end of a complicated session. But if we can get a little tax relief in there, and the legislature really is going to pass it, fine. It's replacement revenue. It seems to be pretty close to 1-for-1, maybe even very slightly in our favor. So we'll see. And that's actually probably being discussed like now. Yeah. So I would say those are kind of the two things that I don't know, that seem noteworthy to me for us. Anybody have anything else? Please move forward.
Item 7, public comment. Those wishing to speak in items related to county business not in the agenda may do so at this time.
Test, test. The salvation of the state is watchfulness in the citizen, not trust in government. You took an oath. In that oath, you solemnly swore that you would support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You swore that you would bear true faith and allegiance to the same. You swore that you were taking this obligation freely and without mental reservation. You swore that you would faithfully and impartially perform the duties of your office to the best of your ability. You swore that you would not advocate for the overthrow of the government, so help you God. What do you think secret vote counts are for, if not to overthrow a government chosen by the people? You fund those so-called vote counts. What does a government chosen by the people look like? It is very well summed up in the beginning of our Declaration and our state constitution that you took an oath to. Quoting from our preamble and Article 1, we the people, notice we the people are the foundation, grateful to Almighty God for our freedom, do ordain and establish the following Declaration of Rights and frame of government as the Constitution of the State of Nebraska. That is the highest law in the state. Moving on to Article 1, all persons are by nature free and independent and have certain inherent and inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and the right to self-defense. And such rights shall not be denied or infringed by the state or any subdivision thereof. To secure these rights and the protection of property, governments are instituted among, that is by, we the people, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Moving forward to Article 22, there shall be no hindrance or impediment to the right of qualified voters to exercise the elective franchise. The role of government is to serve we the people, not to rule over us. The role of government is to protect our rights, which means to restrain any evil that would impose or infringe upon those rights. But what has government become? A self-enrichment program, a wealth redistribution program, a social fabric destruction program. Everyone vies for a government job these days because that's where the wages and benefits are the best for the least amount of work. You can't redistribute other people's wealth to your favorite charities and nonprofits without destroying the social fabric of personal responsibility, accountability, goodwill, and gratitude that coheres our communities, our state, and our nation. You create entitlement and resentment attitudes that tear us apart. You are not our rulers. You are our public servants. You have not fought for us. You have not protected our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. COVID is a perfect example. You have not protected our right to exercise the elective franchise where it matters most. The vote counts. You have milked us for taxes, upon taxes, upon taxes. You have betrayed us and our Constitution. You are not our rulers. We can't even say you are our public servants anymore. Government has, by and large, become the domestic enemy of we the people that our founders warned us about. Ms. Roma, you were censored last night. I didn't stay around long because Innes went on an idiotic tirade in support of Evnan, who's the chief enemy of we the people. Won't allow us to have honest elections. I'll just finish with saying that I pray for your souls.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Okay, seeing none, please proceed.
Brings us to item 8, announcements. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, April 11th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting at Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 at 9 a.m. with the Board of Equalization meeting immediately following in room 112 of the County City Building. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on LNK TV. LNK TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK TV apps are available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Brings us to adjournment.
We adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. We will then go ahead and open the Lancaster County Board of Equalization meeting for Tuesday, April 9th.
Location announcement of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located at the wall of the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all written materials to be discussed at today's open meeting are available for electronic viewing from the county clerk staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed at the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Brings us to item 1 minutes. Item 1A, approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Thursday, March 28th, 2024.
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
I believe I will abstain. Yeah.
That's right.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 with an abstention. Brings us to item 1B, approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
I'll abstain.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 with an abstention. Brings us to item 2, the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Good morning, Commissioners. There are a few additions to the item that was on the agenda for additions and deductions. I believe that Ms. Bauer provided this to the County Board ahead of time. So on there, there's Victory Park, ANP2, Jack Estates, Scotts Creek Crown, Lincoln Action Program, Roderick Apartments, Bridgeport Apartments, Affordable Housing West, and Liberty Estates. That is reflective of all the orders we received from Turk as of yesterday. So we'd ask that those be included in the additions and deductions.
Thank you for that. I move we approve the additions and deductions to the tax rolls.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the additions and deductions, including those discussed by the county attorney's office. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. I'm glad that we're getting these done.
Yeah.
I think this puts us, it puts me at least in a weird position. I think it puts us as a county in a weird position because, as we remember, these have gone to Turks, have been revalued. But we've got some other properties that are almost, substantially similar, like literally next door or across the street, that are still the same type of housing program that are now significantly overvalued. For example, on here, there's one that's listed at $72,000. There's literally one across the street that is now listed as, this last year, $255,500. So we have
Also section 42?
yeah, it's also section 42. The difference was the appeal to Turk didn't happen, which I understand. Creates some legal problems, but it creates for me a concern of like, hey, we have some now knowingly overvalued properties. And so I don't know exactly if there's any way we can remedy that or not, but it just creates for me a real like, oh my goodness, here's literally one that's 72,000 next to one that's 255, and they are the exact same type of property, they're the exact same age of building, they're Section 42 housing and everything. So I don't know what other options we might have to go back and remedy those.
Was this the Reese's
Yeah,
dates?
Reese Estates is the one, and I'm sure this happens in other places, but these are both, Jack Estates and Reese Estates are both in Waverly. And so it's for me, it's an easier way for me to understand by looking at a smaller community and be able to say, yeah, these are like identical. It's not like totally opposite ends of town or anything.
Yes, I mean, I certainly understand what you're saying, kind of the optics of it. My understanding, there's a miscommunication between the property owner and the attorney about who's going to file the Turk. We've looked at, there are no options at this point for us to really change the value. By us, I mean the Board of Equalization. At this point, it would have to come from Turk. We see similar things. I mean, it's kind of easy here because you can line them right up, but all the time through even all the other protests, the thousands that we get over the summer, there are some people in there that have identified a potential problem, and they maybe get their property value reduced while their neighbor who chose not to protest does not. So I understand sort of the optics are odd, but because they chose not to go to Turk, there's just nothing that the Board of Equalization can do at this point without violating the law, which I would never recommend that this board do.
Well, and I think the whole Turk process really is more for the property owner who's concerned about their price, their valuation, I guess I should say. The problem is this is different in my mind because we know it's wrong. I mean, we know it's not worth 255. In 2023, it was worth 51. 2023, it's worth valued at 255. The preliminary value for 2024 is 36. So I understand that we're revising it and getting it fixed moving forward, but it creates a substantial overvaluation in my mind when we have, like I said, we know it's wrong for 2023. So it seems to me like there should be some path forward for us to remedy that year.
I wish there was. Maybe there should be. I tell people all the time, my obligation to tell you what the law is, not what the law should be. And so certainly if that's something that, needs to be explored at some point, that would need to be addressed through the legislation to allow the board to come back on these and to make further corrections or anything. But as we sit here today, I'm just not aware of any law that would allow the board to make the changes that you're suggesting.
Yeah, I mean, people have to, the whole premise of the process is that people have to go through Turk and they have to go through the appeal process. And I mean, that's not, without naming any names, that's not the only one that we're aware of that didn't show up to something and isn't getting relief now.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of what that is. I agree, I'm not convinced that it should be that way, but I'm pretty certain, along with the county attorney's office, that it is that way.
And I think it's worth noting that, Matt, did I hear you accurately, that in 23 it had the rapid rise in valuation, but it was readjusted in 24 back to a more equitable number.
Which is interesting because it's actually significantly lower than it was ever valued before.
Yeah, and I know that in our briefings, they said some would go up and some would go down. There were reasons. The assessor's office did present some reasons why that would be the case and different ones. I guess the good news is it's a 1-year increase and it's not something that's going to be coming back for them to fight year after year due to the efforts of a whole lot of people. Once we got into this situation, it took a lot of people to get us back to a better place. So,
well, and I would even add to that and say, we as a county, I think I would even go as far as to say, we as a county failed these particular property types this year. Right, and I'll point to a number of different things. Number one, there was a preliminary valuation last January, and the assessor's office did not rightly identify that these were wrongly valued. In the summer, we hired a group to listen to the arguments. That group wrongly said these values are right. And so we as a county also need, the assessor's office, we need to, when we go to hire someone to help us with those, with this summer, we need to have a serious conversation with them and say, you guys screwed this up too. I mean, we as a county screwed this up a couple of different times, and now we're in a place where we've got properties that are excessively overvalued. I don't like that the onus is only on the property owner to argue and make a point. I feel like we should find a way to readjust these values on additional properties.
Because that's why we always encourage everyone to appeal to Turk. It's not because I'm looking for more work. I got a whole filing cabinet full of Turk stuff over my office. It's just that at a certain point, that is the only option. After August 10th is they have to go to Turk, and if they choose not to, there's just nothing that can be done at this point. We had a young man back in October, so I can't remember when it was. The assessor came out, made some changes after inspecting his house. He was upset, wants to go back and change his value for 2023. Said, sorry, we can't do that. You didn't appeal to Turk. And Turk agreed and said, their only option at this point was to come to us and ask for that relief. And so I understand what you're saying, Commissioner. I do hear you. It's just these are the rules and the timelines that we have to operate under. I know when the referee was looking at these, they were trying to figure out how to handle them as well. Part of the complication on this too was that there was an appeal that was taken from Turk. And so it kind of became a question of how much can the board really do at this point. A lot of things were up in the air on this. I know you don't like putting on the property owner, but it is a lot on the property owners. If they feel the number is wrong, they need to come to us. We have too many parcels in Lancaster County to have any idea if we're right on all of them. We try our best, but things get missed, and that's the whole process that exists.
And to add to that, Dan, it's fair to say that we went into unplowed ground here with the Section 40, in particular with the Section 42 housing, because
yes. And we encourage them to appeal to the Turk, because if you think we're wrong, you have to appeal to Turk, because that was emphasized to them, and we can't file the appeal on their behalf. As at some point, you can lead the horse to water, but at some point they've got to file that paperwork with Turk, and we encourage them to do that. And as I'd say, probably 90% of them did. A few that just didn't for whatever reason, and maybe an oversight or whatever. But at this point, there's just nothing that we can do.
I want to be clear. I am 100% supportive of these valuations. I just wish there was a way that we could correct some of these other problems.
Without a legislative fix, I don't know how we could do that.
I think we have a motion.
Yeah, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 3, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items related to County Board of Equalization business not on the agenda may do so.
Any members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, we will move to adjournment.
Last item I have is adjournment.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. We're adjourned.